Hey there, it's Brett West with the UrbanCastle team at McEnearney Associates in Washington, D.C. Today, I thought we'd talk a little bit about D.C.'s fall market. In this video, we'll cover housing inventory, contract activity, and the mortgage interest rate. All that coming up after the intro. We live in a world of extremes. It's either too hot or too cold. It's too fast or too slow. It's a peak or it's a valley. And when considering Washington, D.C.'s housing market over the last year, we have definitely seen the extremes and plenty of freeze-thaw activity. The real estate market cooled considerably leading up to Election Day 2018. And the fall market introduced itself more as a lamb than a lion. After Election Day, and the announcement that same week that Amazon was locating HQ2 here in the Washington metro area, the market heated right up. And what we saw in many cases was homes that had lingered on the market suddenly had a lot of attention. And many of those went under contract with multiple offers and increased offer prices. And then the market came to an abrupt freeze when the president shut down the federal government. The sudden dearth of buyers left sellers in a panic. Price reduction after price reduction after price reduction became the trend throughout December and January. Meanwhile, buyers who were unaffected by the federal shutdown were in for a nice treat. Price reductions in terms that leaned toward their direction in order to get properties sold. But as we know, the federal shutdown came to an end and the good times began to roll again. All of those homes that spent more time on the market were suddenly seeing multiple offers and escalations. And the terms and prices of offers became more heavily weighted toward the seller. DC's spring market continued robust right on through summer. And here we are today, 1 month into DC's fall market. So what are we seeing? Let's dive in. Let's start off with housing inventory. September starts the fall market and with it a spike of inventory. This year we've seen about a 4.8% increase in new inventory introduced to the market versus this time last year. But remember what I said about last year's market? It was lackluster at best, all the way leading up to Election Day and the announcement of Amazon. Across all property types, contract activity is, well, We're seeing a slight increase in homes going under contract, with significantly more days spent on market before doing so. This is probably because we've seen this spike in inventory for the fall market. So all of you property owners out there attempting to sell your home right now who've done everything right, great price, great preparation, and it's taking so long to get your home under contract, welcome to the new norm. It's now just going to take more time to get it done. Over the last several years, we've become accustomed to homes selling between 24 hours and 4 days. Now it may take up to a month, and you may not get multiple offers. This is especially true in the condo market, where in 2015 we saw a huge delivery of new construction condos. Frankly, the market is saturated. The same cannot necessarily be said for single-family attached and detached properties. The pace of construction for attached and detached property still lags woefully behind demand in the District of Columbia. And given the finite amount of land in the District of Columbia, the urgency index for such homes is expected to remain quite high. The mortgage interest rate is hot. In fact, I've seen rates as low as 3.58% on a 30-year fixed. That's about 1 point less than it was a year ago. The payment on a mortgage originated today is 12% lower than an identically sized loan a year ago. That is a huge advantage for buyers, especially as property prices continue to rise. There may have never been a time quite like the present to buy a home. And if you own a home but have absolutely no interest in buying or selling, now might be a really good time to look into refinancing or applying for a home equity line of credit. So has our market stalled? Has the bubble popped yet again? I think it's a little too early to tell. Like you, I read the news and it's kind of reading like a telenovela these days. Trade war with China, poor performance on Wall Street, and that constant drumbeat that we keep hearing, what about the recession? You know it has an influence on what you decide to do. It certainly does me. Remember, real estate is hyper-local. So whatever you may be reading about real estate in another part of the country or even a national real estate market, it may have little to no bearing on your block. And it can be said that real estate is so local that the circumstances for one household are completely different from the one next door. We human beings can only hold back for so long before attending to our personal circumstances. Taking that job, getting married, having that child, becoming an empty nester, any number of personal circumstances. A full breakdown of market data with charts and figures can be found on my website, UrbanCastle.biz, at the very bottom of my homepage under Resources and Market in a Minute. We update this information on a monthly basis. If you want to know how your home stacks up against today's market, drop me a line. I'm happy to provide you with a tailored home value analysis. That's a quick look at DC's fall market. If you have any questions or comments, I hope you'll leave them below in the comments section. And while you're there, give us the thumbs up and subscribe to the UrbanCastle YouTube channel to stay atop today's market trends and inventory. And remember, if information is power, my goal is to help you become the most powerful consumer of real estate on the market. Thank you.